Is preparing for an English exam really learning English? Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, it's an English exam, right? Well, are you studying to learn English or are you studying to pass an exam? I don't know. Let's talk about it. The whole point of taking an English exam is to demonstrate that you know English. And yes, preparing for an English exam to a certain extent involves learning English, obviously. But is it the best way to learn English? And I guess that's the question here. Let's start with grammar then. What is learning grammar? Well, if you're studying for the Cambridge exams, you're probably thinking grammar is use of English. And use of English is that horrible Part 4 keyword transformation exercise, right here. However, is completing a word transformation exercise really evidence that you know the grammar? And if it is, what do we mean by knowing the grammar? I mean, seriously, it is entirely possible for someone to complete a grammar exercise correctly, but not know what that grammar structure means or how to produce it in conversation or in writing. Honestly, what's more important, form or meaning? Well, I think it's obvious. Meaning, because that's what the point is of language, right? To communicate, to share meaning. In general, any exam that you take that wants to assess your grammar will prioritize the form over the meaning, and in my opinion, that's a terrible thing. So, forget about grammar exercises, right? Exams are stupid, Cambridge is pointless. No, hold on. Learning grammar and grammar exercises can be helpful, because the more you produce a grammar structure, the more automatic producing that grammar structure becomes, right? Imagine you're playing a guitar. When you first start learning the guitar, you'll maybe play notes or chords very slowly and outside the context of a song. And then maybe once you get better, you will start playing those notes or chords quicker and without thinking in the context of a song. And perhaps grammar is the same. I guess, in my opinion, the important thing is when you're practicing the form of something, never forget about the meaning. After all, the form is completely pointless without the meaning. So, if you're studying some grammar for an exam, just remember, yes, I'm learning this form, but I also need to know the meaning, because without the meaning, the form is meaningless. Yes, yes. Okay, so what about speaking? In my opinion, the Cambridge exams are quite good in this respect. But think about part 3 of the B2 First Speaking exam. Sometimes you can have two teenagers talking about whether a shopping centre will improve tourism to a town. And have you ever heard two teenagers talking about something like that? Because I haven't. And if when I was at school, I did hear two teenagers talking about something like that, I would have said, wow, you guys are boring. You've probably got no friends. I'm going to talk to someone else. Of course, the ironic thing is that I was the one that had no friends. So, still don't. But okay, fine. In real life, sometimes you will have to talk about things that you're not interested in. So, fine. In my opinion, problems start arising in the Cambridge B2 First exam during part 1 of the speaking exam, where you're asked basic questions about familiar topics, because often, and I encourage that you do this, students will try to use more complex grammatical forms in order to demonstrate to the examiner that they know that these forms exist. You can learn all about that here. And seriously, if you want to pass an exam, it's a really good idea. I think you should do it. The examiners will love you, you will love me, and then we'll all love each other. That sounds really cool. However, is it learning English? Being able to answer any type of question with used to? Is that learning English? I don't know, it seems kind of unnatural to me. Again, this goes back to the problem of form being prioritized over meaning. Instead of you expressing yourself how you want to and conveying the meaning that you want to convey to the examiner, well, you're trying to demonstrate that you know complex forms and saying, hey examiner, look at this form. Isn't it a beautiful form? Look how I form this form. We have a kind of similar issue with writing too. You'll notice that in my videos that discuss writing an essay for the B2 First Cambridge exam, I give you some very fixed instructions of how to write an exam that the examiners will look at and say, wow, I'm an examiner examining this exam and I'm having a great time doing it. Learn about that here. Yeah, trust me, follow my advice and you'll do really well. However, if you apply my advice outside of the context of the B2 First writing exam, then you're probably going to have some problems. Seriously, the writing advice I give you for the B2 First writing exam is only relevant for the B2 First writing exam. So what are you learning? Are you learning English writing or are you learning B2 First exam preparation? And yeah, there's some English involved, but really, I think you're learning B2 First exam preparation. And lastly, exams often focus on being right. And to be honest with you, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Obviously, an exam needs some form of objective criteria with which to assess you. Otherwise, it's not an exam, it's just a bunch of opinions put together, and opinions are like noses. Everyone has a nose, I think. However, this is very different to the way that we learn languages. We don't learn languages with a voice inside our head saying, no, that's wrong. We learn a language through experimentation. And I kind of think that exam preparation is the opposite of that. We're studying to be right, not necessarily to explore the language. Exams scare people, and exams change the way that people think about things. And this is for good reason. Oftentimes, someone's job, someone's higher education, even someone's visa can depend on how they do in these exams. And so people, rightly, are terrified of being wrong. And this is a good way to approach an exam, maybe, but a terrible way to approach language learning. So remember, it's important to be right in your exam, but learning a language is about exploration, experimentation, and most importantly, communication. So, what's the point in all of this? What is Toby trying to say to you? Am I saying you should not prepare for exams? No, definitely not. Keep studying for exams and keep watching my videos, please. But try not to see the exam as an end in and of itself. Remember, an exam is just one very, very small part of learning English. Some people feel like they really need exams to keep going. They want to feel like they've actually accomplished something through learning a language. And yeah, I get that. They can be a great source of motivation for some people. But every now and then, when you're working through hundreds of use of English exercises or writing a report about something that you don't care about and is of no relevance to you, or you're reading an article about some species of animal that you don't care about, ask yourself this question. Am I learning English doing this, or am I just learning exam technique? Because they're not the same thing. And I'm pretty sure you didn't start learning English to get really, really good at exams. And with that, we are finished. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it made you think about taking exams in a different way. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. My name is Toby and this was Smash English.